Give us a little bit of your backstory of how Cigar Clowns all started, and what was the very first cigar you ever smoked before Cigar Clown started?
So, man, this is always the fun part of the show. I hope you don't have an intermission because I can go on for like an hour about this the origin story so long. If you've seen my interviews before, I usually get teased about it. But yeah, I mean, first I'll start off with the first cigar I ever smoked before Cigar Clowns and my love for the leaf. So I was always fascinated by cigars as an adolescent, and my grandfather on my mom's side, the Italian side of the family. I was always in awe of it. I always like the smell. And my grandfather's routine growing up, he lived out on Long Island in New York, and he would always go out after any dinner or whenever we were there, and every night, and then he kind of had to kind of simmer down a little bit and kind of go to the just doing it on the weekends. But he would get his Grand Marnier, he would get his fruit. He would have his fruit first. He would have his glass of Grand Marnier ready to go, and he would light either an Ashton, Connecticut, or he had his little supply run of Cubans that he would get because he had friends that did business down in Cuba way back in the day. So he had Cubans. He was a Monte Cristo #2 guy. He would kind of venture into a Cohiba a little bit, but he was very into the Connecticut's. That was his thing. That was his poison. So fast forward into I was an athlete from very young age. I played football, not the one you kick the ball with the white and the black, like you guys call football, like American football.
Yeah.
So I played. I was in pads at 5 years old, and I played all the way up through into high school, into a little bit of college, and I was always an athlete. So I always stayed away from any sort of nicotine products and stuff like that. And but again, like I said, going back to what I was saying, I was always interested in it. I was always fascinated by it. I always loved the smell of it. I always loved sitting outside and talking with him and him smoking a cigar. So one day, I think I was about I think I just graduated high school. I had to be 18 or 19 at the time. I said, Grandpa, I was like, I want to smoke with you, and I want to test out the waters. He's like, yeah, you think you're ready? He's giving me all the tips. If you're inhaling, you're gonna turn green. You might turn nauseous. You might throw up. I'm like, oh, listen, I got to get my toes in and figure it out for myself, right? So let's see what's up. So he's like, all right, if this is a special occasion, get permission from my mom, who was the hard up Italian mother, to have a little bit of a drink with my grandfather at that young age. And even though I was drinking from my I was like 14, but mom doesn't know that. She knows it now. I'm much older, but so he blessed me with the first cigar I ever put in my mouth that I smoked was a Monte Cristo #2. He didn't give me an Ashton. He didn't give me some, $5 stick. He's like, if you're going to smoke a cigar with me, you're going to smoke a Cuban. And he was a big Cuban guy. So I smoked it. And I got through it on harms, no nauseousness. He taught me how the proper way of, lighting it, obviously. And smoking it the correct way, not inhaling, and try to enjoy the flavors. I didn't retrohale back then because, God, I probably would have puked my brains out. But